Good morning, and thank you for coming to worship with us at First United Methodist Church in Red Wing. I'm Katie Bystrom. I'm the lay leader for our congregation. Our pastor, Greg Strunk, is on vacation this weekend, so I welcome you with gratitude. Thank you for being here this morning. I apologize for the slight delay. We had a hard time finding acolyte robes that didn't have stains on them, so that's a reminder to me that we can take the acolyte robes home and wash them. So if anyone is interested in doing that, please go ahead and take them from the back and bring them back by next Sunday. Thank you. I would also like to highlight and say happy anniversary to Margaret and Jean Foster, who will be sharing some special music with us later this morning. And thank you to their family who is here with us to celebrate. Please join us after worship. Hallelujah. Please join us after worship to share cake that the Fosters are providing. I would also like to say with gratitude to the finance and the council who have made the decision not to participate in churches around the park. What I realized is that what we need to do when we make these decisions is communicate them better. But the finance asked council to consider not participating because of the state of our financial situation, as well as some concerns for parishioners who couldn't come to worship when it's in the park because they have mobility issues, they have hearing issues, and it's just not a good worship experience when they're in the park and there's traffic and other distractions. So we are now providing our worship at the same time as churches in the park so that all people can join. I'd also like to thank all the volunteers from Friday night. We had family movie night in the park, and it was a huge success. When I got done with softball practice at 7:30, I zoomed down to open up the church and bring out the hula hoops and bubbles, and were already 7 families sitting in the park, hanging out and getting ready. As we brought stuff out, more and more families came. So it was a huge success, and thank you to the volunteers who made that happen. I'd also like to thank the volunteers who make our Monday free lunch program for the Red Wing community happen, and Christy Brown has an announcement for that.
Good morning. I've had the pleasure the last couple Mondays of being part of our free lunch program, and it's really a very positive experience for both the children and the adults. And I know some of you are wondering kind of what's going on with that. We've been having between 30 and 50 kids come. And they get a bag lunch, no questions asked. They get a bag lunch. It's a sandwich, fruit, vegetables, that kind of thing. No food goes to waste. If they don't like it and they haven't opened it, it goes up on the sharing table and it's up for grabs. So everybody anything left over goes next door to the women's shelter. So there's no food wasted on this program, and the kids are really nice. Oh, they're very polite, and it's not difficult work. But Greg went to Boston with the list of volunteers, and I suddenly realized Thursday I might be the only one there. Now, I found out a little different this morning, but so I just went ahead and made another list. If you've signed up on Greg's, just re-sign up. But we really need between 6 and 8 people every Monday. And how many of you have read a story to your children or grandchildren? I bet a lot of you had. Then you're the person I want. And also, I do need somebody to come with me to Hyde Park tomorrow so you learn where to pick up the lunches, because that's one of the things. So if somebody would just come with me, I could show you where we go to pick up the lunches. Again, you know, I'm a little short and round, and I can pick them up, so it's not a difficult job. Thanks, Katie, and I hope that we get lots of volunteers. It's well worth your time. It's easy, simple, and it takes about an hour and a half.
So in order to volunteer, you can sign up on the list. You could also just show up at Cobble Family Center, which is with your driver's license, so you can sign in. They have they swipe it and they give you a name badge. But from 11:30 to 1, I haven't been there yet because my daughter has physical therapy appointments during that time, but I'm looking forward to volunteering for the first time tomorrow. So thank you, Christy, for heading that up. And now, please sign the red attendance pads and pass them through the pew and greet one another with the peace of Christ. And now, let's please join together in the call to worship, which is based on Psalm 86, verses 1 through 10. Listen to me, God, for I am poor and needy.
Give us life, God, for you are our God.
Be gracious, for I cry to you all day long.
Make our hearts glad, for our soul cries out to you.
For you, God, are forgiving and unending in love.
Listen to our cries of pain and suffering.
For all will bow down before you. All people will know your love.
For you are the master teacher,
and all are blessed by you. Please remain standing and join together in hymn number 2236, Gather Us In, which can be found in the Faith We Sing supplement.
This place, new light is streaming. Now is the darkness vanished away. See in this space our fears and our dreamings, brought here to you in the light of the day. Gather us in, the lost and forsaken. Gather us in, the blind and the lame. Call to us now, and we shall arise at the end of your name. We are the young, our lives are a mystery. We are the old who yearn for your face. We have been sung throughout all of history, called to be light to the whole human race. Gather us in, the rich and the haughty. Gather us in, the proud and the strong. Give us a heart so meek and so lowly. Give us the courage to enter the song. Here we will take the wine and the water. Here we will take the bread of new birth. Here you shall call your sons and your daughters, called to us new to be so for the earth. Give us to drink the wine of compassion. Give us to eat the bread that is you. Nourish us well and teach us to fashion lives that are holy and hearts that are true. Not in the dark of building confining, not in some heaven light is away. Here in this place a new light is shining. Now is a kingdom, now is a day. Gather us in and hold us forever. Gather us in and make us your own. Gather us in, all peoples together, far of love in our flesh and our bone.
Let us join together once again in prayer. You are a creative God, a God who makes every star in the sky unique and all creation wondrous. You are a master artist, and you put us at your masterpiece. You give us the gifts and skills to bring the fullness of your creation to life. So give us such strength that we will be willing to seek out your guidance in loving the world and each other with your Master's touch. Help us to praise you on high and rejoice in the blessed gift we have of each other. In Jesus' precious name, amen. And now I invite the children to come forward, as well as David Woolley, who will lead our children's sermon. So yes, please, if you are under 18, just come forward and hang out with David for a moment.
Well, good morning. How are you guys doing today? I got a question. Do you guys ever like to wear costumes or play dress up? Yeah? What do you like to dress up as, or your costume?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Funny.
Funny things? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, you guys know Sammy. He's my son. He's 5. And he likes to put on superhero costumes all the time. 2 of his favorite are Captain America and Iron Man. Because he feels like they give him these special powers. And he like turns into Iron Man. And he jumps on me and attacks me. And it's pretty cool. And he actually made me go out and buy a Spider-Man costume. So I have special powers too. What does Spider-Man do? Do you guys know? Do you know what Spider-Man's special power is?
Webs.
That's right. I get to fly webs out of my arm like that. Well, did you know that we all have a special power, superpower as well? When we were baptized, we were blessed with the Holy Spirit. And that's our own special power that was given to us from God. And you know what it does for us? Well, I can tell you what it does for me. It can give me power and strength when I need courage to face something that's difficult. I can recognize that I have the Holy Spirit in me. And that gives me some courage and some strength to do some things that are sometimes difficult to do. Now, another thing about wearing costumes is sometimes we get to pretend to be somebody we're not. And that can be kind of fun, right? But do you guys know that God made each and every one of you very unique? There's not another person like you on the face of the earth. And there's like 7 billion people in the world. There's only one you. There's only one you, and there's only one you. So sometimes, even though we try and act like other people or pretend to be other people, there's only one of us. I think that's really, really cool. I think that's an important thing to remember, because sometimes we think we want to be like somebody else, or we try and be like somebody else, but God made each and every one of us very, very unique and very, very special. And so we don't have to try and be like other people. It can be fun to play to be other people, but I think it's important to remember that we only have to be ourselves, because God made each and every one of us very unique with our own special gifts and talents. Is that pretty cool? I think it's pretty cool. Well, let's say a word of prayer here. God, thank you for blessing us with these precious, adorable children. They are the greatest gifts that we can receive. Help them to always remember just how much you love them and that you will always love them no matter what. There's nothing they could ever do that would make you stop loving them. There's nothing they could do that would make you love them any more than you love them right now, exactly as they are. In Jesus' name, amen.
And how wonderful is it that although we are all unique and all individuals, the Lord has given us the power to pray together. And so let us join our voices and pray the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And now let us join together in singing hymn number 2113, Lamb of God, which can also be found in the Faith We Sing supplement, or you can follow along on the screens.
The gospel lesson today is from the book of Mark, chapter 1, verses 1 through 11. Here begins the wonderful story of Jesus the Messiah, the Son of God. In the book written by the prophet Isaiah, God announced that he would send his Son to earth, and that a special messenger would arrive first to prepare the word for his coming. This messenger will live out in the barren wilderness, Isaiah said, and will proclaim that everyone must straighten out his life and be ready for the Lord's arrival. This messenger was John the Baptist. He He lived in the wilderness and taught that all should be baptized as a public announcement of their decision to turn their backs on sin, so that God would forgive them. People from Jerusalem and all over Judea traveled out to the Judean wastelands to see and hear John, and when they confessed their sins, he baptized them in the Jordan River. His clothes were woven from camel's hair, and he wore a leather belt. Locusts and wild honey were his food. Here is a sample of his preaching. Someone is coming soon who is far greater than I am, so much greater that I am not even worthy to be his slave. I baptize you with water, but he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit. Then one day Jesus came from Nazareth in Galilee and was baptized by John there in the Jordan River. The moment Jesus came up out of the water, he saw the heavens open up and the Holy Spirit in the form of a dove descending on him. And a voice from heaven said, "You are my beloved Son. You are my delight." The word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God.
I'll let you in on a secret. I'm a little bit nervous about this. David spoke about wearing costumes and pretending to be someone else. And today, I feel a little bit outside of my skin. I'm standing at the pulpit rather than prancing in the middle because A, the ear microphone that hangs in front of off your ear and in front of your mouth doesn't work for me. I'm not meant to be Britney Spears. It makes me very uncomfortable to have things hanging on my ears. So I'm standing behind the pulpit for the microphone so you can hear me. I'm also standing behind the pulpit because then if I need to, I have something to hold on to. And you can't see if my knees are shaking or not. So thank you for this opportunity to share my faith and hopefully give you some words to consider and deepen your relationship with God. On May 30th, I was at Minnesota's annual conference. Now, annual conference is a gathering of all Minnesota churches. It's kind of like our state legislative session. So we have local churches that gather together at annual conference. We have a general conference that will happen in 2016, and that's the national gathering. But on May 30th, at annual conference, we were gathered together to worship. And Bishop O asked us to remember our baptisms. And I looked around because I thought, there's a lot of people here, and I bet the majority of them were baptized as infants. And the only memories they have are photographs or memories that have been given to them by their family members. But not me. I was baptized when I was 20 years old. And my baptism was a 3-year journey. I was a freshman at college at the University of Chicago, and I knew that I wanted to pursue my faith. I wanted to make a commitment, but I wasn't sure where. Growing up in Red Wing, I wasn't connected to any specific church, but I hung out with lots of friends who went to great churches, and so I had great opportunities to join many congregations and participate in worship without all those expectations of sermon notes and whatnot. I didn't have to be there. I wanted to be there, so I liked it. And every place I went, I was surrounded by love and acceptance. And I yearned for that on a regular basis. So as a freshman in college, I met my very good friend, who is also my godmother now, Alicia. She's from St. Louis. One of the things that bonded us was that we both are Polish. That's not necessarily something to be proud of. Unless you're Polish, then you're very proud of that. She also had a younger brother, and it broke her heart to be away from him. I had 2 younger sisters. Her brother and my sisters were all 10 years old when we went to college. And so we bonded over our Polish descent and our older sisterness. She was Catholic, and she decided to go to worship at St. Thomas the Apostle Church. And now I will try my expertise at the technology to pull up that picture. but I'm going to have to ask Mandy for, there we go. This is St. Thomas the Apostle Catholic Church in Hyde Park of Chicago. We went to worship every Sunday our freshman year of college, and I was curious. I was not allowed to participate in the Eucharist or in communion because I was not baptized. I didn't appreciate that because I felt like an outsider. So I checked in with Father Tom, and he explained, Katie, you're right. You can't receive communion, but you can receive a blessing. Come forward when everyone comes forward for communion, and just keep your hands closed, and the priest will bless you. So I accepted that and went forward every week, and then prayed following communion. But that wasn't enough. I wanted more. So Father Tom talked to me about the catechumen process. That sounded a little cult-like to me, so I was nervous. But he explained, and Alicia confirmed, this is just the process of being educated about the Bible, about the Catholic faith, so that you can make the decision of whether or not that's how you want to make that commitment. So I started going to classes. We met weekly, and there were 7 of us. There were 4 other students. One of my professors was in my group, and 2 community members were in my group. Every week, we worshiped together. Every week, we also met and reviewed the scripture and talked about how it impacted our personal lives. Typically, at the end of one year, so this was my sophomore year that I started this process, and typically, at the end of that year, you go through the baptism, First Communion, and confirmation service. But I wasn't quite ready because I still had questions and concerns. It still bothered me that even though everyone could come up and receive a blessing, that there were people that weren't welcome to receive communion in the Catholic Church. And I struggled with that, and I spoke with Father Tom about that at length. And he connected me with a woman named Vicki. Vicki was a member of the liturgy team, and one of her goals, because she wanted more female role models in the Catholic Church. So on the liturgy team, she advocated for gender-neutral terminology in all the readings. Now that wasn't my issue, but Father Tom knew that that was Vicky's issue, and if I could see someone within the church fighting for what they believed in, that might give me the reassurance that I needed to figure out whether or not I could make this commitment to become fully in communion. Vicki also was a member of the liturgical dancing team, and I definitely did not want to be part of that team. But she did teach me how, working within the system, you can make changes that you feel are valuable. So here's the picture of St. Thomas the Apostle Catholic Church. You can tell it is very old. It was built in 1869. There are huge amounts of tradition there. There are bronze sculptures depicting every station of the cross. This is a church that has ritual just seeping out its sides. So I assumed that my baptism would be a wonderful gala event, that I would be all dressed in white, that there'd be a marble baptismal font because there really was one there, and that it would be kind of glamorous, right? As we prepared to be baptized, Father Tom took us to the back room where the priests get ready for service and where the priests go after service to finish drinking the communion wine because you can't toss any of it away. And I saw a blue plastic wading pool. And I said, I wonder what goes on back here. And Father Tom asked Professor Epps to bring the pool out onto the altar. I was very curious at that point. Then Father Tom proceeded to show us the robes that we would wear at different phases of our baptismal, communion, and confirmation service. And I thought, oh, No one's going to see my pretty dress. And then he said, make sure, there was 4 of us being baptized, make sure you guys wear just, old shorts and an old t-shirt, because you're going to get doused. Excuse me, Father Tom. I have a very nice dress that I was going to wear. And the robe is going to cover it up, and I guess I'm okay with that, because afterwards I can take it off for pictures. And he said, well, you're not going to want any pictures in a dripping, wet, white dress, Katie. I said, you're right. But help me understand why we're not using that very pretty, very traditional, gorgeous baptismal font. And he said, because then I could only sprinkle you with holy water. And is your baptism, is the culmination of this 3-year journey really about being sprinkled with holy water so you can wear a pretty white dress? No. So that is when it hit me that there are times in a church, in our community, that we have to set aside our preconceived ideas. We have to set aside what we expect, what we assume is going to happen, and be practical. This is an old church. It was not practical for them to put in an enormous baptismal font so adults could be baptized too. So they went to Walgreens, they bought the blue plastic pool, and I was baptized in that. Father Tom asked me afterwards, was this okay? And I said, this was the most fabulous thing ever. I stood in a blue plastic pool. My mom, my younger sisters, Alicia, Vicky, Father Tom, my ex-husband Stacy, they had all driven down so that they could be part of this 4-hour mass to watch me be baptized and take First Communion and be confirmed. What a wonderful gift. I had braided my hair because I had long hair then. I got drenched. I had to wring out my t-shirt and my shorts and drip dry the robe, but I felt completely immersed in the Holy Spirit. I had made that connection. Then, as we went forward in the ceremony, we took our First Communion. Now, this is something that as a 10 and 11 and up to probably age 15, when I would attend church at United Lutheran Church in Red Wing with my good friend Tasha Lumen, she would say, come on up, might as well take it with us. And so I had cheated all those years and taken communion. So not having communion as a young adult was something I was missing. And when I got to accept communion for the first time at St. Thomas the Apostle, I was struck by how good it felt to not only be experiencing Christ on the outside of my body, but also to ingest it, to take it inside, to really have it be part of my body. On May 30th, Bishop O led worship. He asked us to remember our baptisms. And on that day, I focused on the blue kiddie pool. I couldn't figure out why that was the image coming to me, because typically when I think about my baptism, I think about that feeling, that wonderful connection I had to the people in the church, to my family, and to God. But on May 30th, I kept thinking about the kiddie pool. And I was like, you know, Katie, sometimes you can be way too distracted. And I get frustrated with myself for that. But then we're singing the opening hymn, and I see people coming forward, and they have clear plastic cubes on their head. I thought, this is different. And they processed up to the stage, and then other people came forward with pitchers of water carried on their head. They set a cube down, poured the water in, set another cube on top of that, poured more water in, and then someone put a rubber ducky inside the clear plastic cube. Then they set another cube on top of that and poured more water in. And I thought, this is starting to make sense with that blue plastic kiddie pool right now. And I love how sometimes my brain makes those connections without me even trying to lead it. Reverend Ozan was going to be our speaker. He was going to give our sermon that day. His toddler son was going to be baptized by Bishop O. And after they assembled this baptismal font, so now I've seen formal fonts, I've seen a kiddie pool used as a baptismal font, and I have seen a font put together right in front of me. And I realized baptism can be so different for so many people, but it gives us all that same gift. Bishop O picked up the toddler, and he leaned over the cubes, and he told the toddler, "Splash, play in the water." And there was part of me that's like, oh my goodness, because that formal, historic, ritual preconception enters my head and thought, you don't play with holy water. Oh my goodness. But then I remembered Father Tom. Did you come to be sprinkled? Or did you come to be immersed? And I thought, oh, I hope that little boy just splashes away. I hope he gets the entire stage wet. The boy was baptized. All the family members left the stage, and we sung a song. Reverend Ozan came back to the stage, wearing red high heels. This struck me as odd. The first image I had was, okay, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be reenacting the Rocky Horror Picture Show because there were no wigs, there was no gold lame, there was just red high heels. My second thought was, how wonderful is it that this man is coming forward wearing red high heels, and I'm so excited to hear all about how his passion is to end sexual and domestic violence. Because one of the experiences I have with men in red high heels is the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes fundraiser. Our local sexual assault awareness advocates sponsor a fundraiser every year where men raise money so that they can put on a pair of red high heels and promenade around the park or around downtown to raise awareness of sexual and domestic violence. That's my experience, so my assumption was, I'm going to hear a little bit more about that. There could be no other reason for him to be wearing red high heels, right? Well, he started to speak. He talked about a mentor from when he was in seminary school, and how when she retired, how she wore red high heels or red shoes on a daily basis, and that was kind of her trademark. She was an incredible mentor to many students, helping them devour the Bible, understand it, and then translate it in a passionate way to share with others. So I kept thinking, oh, wow, how cool that she did that, and she fought to end sexual and domestic violence. But no, he kept talking about how then, when he graduated, all the staff members were wearing red shoes to honor her legacy, to help others remember to go out, to preach the word, to share the word. And I kept thinking, oh, here we go again, Katie. Your brain goes this way, and you're not following the path that's lying ahead of you. But I realized, that's kind of cool. How wonderful is it that God made us to be able to struggle with those things? And how wonderful is it, or as I would say, one of the cool things about me is that I can have these preconceived ideas. I know that they exist and I acknowledge them, but my brain still has enough room to hear other words and to get meaning from the message at hand. One of the things that was interesting as I was preparing for this over the last 2 weeks was every time I tried to watch the video of Reverend Ozan's sermon, the sound cut out as soon as he stepped forward. Because I thought, oh, I need to get that person's name. That staff member who wore the red shoes, I need to have her name to share that with the congregation to make my sermon valid. Every time. I tried it from my home computer, I tried it from my work computer, I tried it from a library internet computer. No sound as soon as he came on. So then I realized, maybe her name isn't the important thing. Maybe the important thing is this woman left such a legacy and inspired so many people that Reverend Ozan is willing to come out on stage at Minnesota Annual Conference in a pair of red high heels. That is a wonderful legacy. And then he took them off. And he said, they used to call me Shoeless Jeff in seminary school. And of course, because my family grew up watching a lot of baseball, I thought of Shoeless Joe Jackson, but I caught myself. And I said, no, he probably isn't going to go there at all. And so I listened. He spoke about how his way was to go without shoes. That's how he was comfortable. He talked about his journey to find his path. He talked about how each of us, because we are uniquely made, have our own path that God has put before us, and that our job is to find that path. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not rely on your own insight. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths." That verse resonates with me because I get distracted. My brain wanders. One of the tasks that I do in my job is to interview children who have been abused or neglected. That isn't always easy. But one of the things that helps me do my job well is to acknowledge that sometimes I have preconceived ideas. If I see a bruise, I might think this is what it looks like, but since I wasn't there, I need the child to explain what happened. I wasn't there when the child was abused, so I need to listen to that child. I need to set my assumptions, my preconceived ideas down so that I can see the truth and help people get there. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 reinforces that. We all have many experiences, and they're valuable. We need to learn from them. But sometimes we need to set them aside to be open to what lies ahead of us. Pastor Greg has been doing a sermon relating to fish, or a sermon series relating to fishing. I don't fish. I like to go out, I like to cast, and I like to talk. I did wear my watch to make sure that I wouldn't talk too long today. But when my uncles used to take me fishing, they would get frustrated because I'd like to catch the sunfish and I'd like to release the sunfish because I don't like to eat fish. In fact, my uncle got so frustrated that as I was sitting back on shore putting the worm on the hook, he cast back with no regard and hooked me right in the head. And we couldn't get the hook out, so we had to pile in the truck, and I'm sobbing and crying and screaming and bringing me back to my aunt. My aunt did not have much sympathy for my uncles who were ineffective at best, and nor was she very sympathetic to my howls as she just ripped it right out. So I do not feel like I can talk to you about fishing, but I do feel like I can talk to you a little bit about how that sermon series resonated with me. Last week, Pastor Greg talked about Jesus walking on water, and how Peter said, "If it is you, call me." And Jesus said, "Come." And Peter stepped out of the boat, and he took some steps, and then the winds blew, and Peter sunk. And Pastor Greg talked about how Peter not only lost faith in what lies ahead, in Christ being there, but he lost faith in himself. And as I exited, I asked Greg, did you write that sermon for me? Because I had been struggling with the idea of standing in the pulpit and speaking to you in a meaningful way. How do I think I can put this costume on? I can stand behind this prop and give you meaningful words to ponder. That was pretty audacious. But last week, we talked about Peter. We talked about how he took that first step. And we talked about how when the winds came up, he sunk. I tell you, looking at you, I think you're kind of my winds. I was pretty nervous. Bruce can attest to that. Everyone upstairs can attest to that. Probably Jean and Margaret can attest to that as I was scurrying back and forth this morning. But you are also my strength. Many of you said, Glenn and Donna said, break a leg, in the theatrical sense. Bruce gave me courage and confidence. He also told me not to stay upstairs if I wanted to become confident because there were some technical issues. And I appreciate that. So let us all look together for the path that God has designed for us as individuals, as a congregation, and as Christians. Let us follow that path without hesitation. Have faith in God, have faith in one another, and have faith in yourself. I thank you for having faith in me today to get up and deliver these words. I thank you for the support that you've given me, that gave me confidence to follow through with this ridiculous volunteer request I made to help out Pastor Greg while he was on vacation. So thank you, and God bless. And now, let us again celebrate the 60 years of matrimony between Jean and Margaret as they sing for us and the ushers come forward to collect our offerings.
My Lord and God, He leadeth me. He is my strength every day. When I am filled with hopelessness, He will show me the way. And I will praise God, praise the Lord my God by the morning light. And I will praise God, praise the Lord my God every night. I know that my God is filled with love. He knows my thoughts when I pray. He takes my prayers and He uses them in His own special way. And I will praise God, praise
Hallelujah. Thank you so much. What a wonderful sharing, and happy anniversary once again. Let us praise God for the dedication of our offerings, not only of our financial offerings, but also the many gifts of time and talent that we provide. Lord, may you use these offerings of our heart, our mind, our soul, to further your word. Let us help to connect people with your calming presence. Let us go with confidence to serve you. And now let us join together in the Faith We Sing supplement and sing hymn number 2173, Shine, Jesus, Shine.
With the Father's glory, place, Spirit, place.
Lord, we thank you for this time together. Thank you for letting us share your light. Let us now be your light out in the world and out in this community. Thank you for this blessed day. Go in peace.